Hey everyone, it's Kat here again, and I told you that we would go over some few more functions here with Excel. We are going to do pivot tables and also a more complex way to use the sum product function, as I had promised you. So in our data we've got name, we've got the month, and then we've got the number of items sold per person per month. So what we want to do is create a table or a view that adds everything up. So how many items did Angela sell from January to June? Also, you want to see how many items she sold per month. Same with Brad, Carlos, and Diane. One way to do that is a pivot table. So if you go to Insert, Pivot Table, you can highlight all of the data that you want to put into the pivot table. Click OK. We've got our name, we've got our month and columns, and then we've got the number of items sold. You can see that Excel just automatically grouped these together. I don't want them to look like that. I wanted it to look, maybe like it did before. You can right click on it and do ungroup, and it will put them back into the other format. So now we've got a pivot table. You can see we've got the number for Angela. She's year to date, she's sold 233 items. Brad has sold 144, Carlos 282, and Diane 118. If you noticed, the month of May isn't in here. So if you want your data to be a full, like not exclude any of the months, one of the alternative ways you can do that is to use a sum product function instead of a pivot table. So I'm going to show you that up here. So up here, we're going to take our month and we're going to drag it over through June. You notice the column widths are different. As I showed you in one of the prior videos, you can highlight them all, double click, and it will adjust. You can see it didn't adjust them the same because I've got data down here. So I'm just going to move my pivot table over to the side, highlight these again, double click, then I've got my column widths all the same. So to do a sum product, remember, sum product is normally taking one value, multiplying it times another value, and then adding them all up at the end to get your sum product. This particular way to use sum product is more like a lookup function. So it's going to look over here to try to find Angela, try to find January, and then pull in the number of items sold. So we can start by typing sum product. If you hit the tab, you don't have to type all of the word in. So we've got sum product, and what we're going to add together are the number of items sold. I'm going to just highlight the entire column of C. I'm going to hit my F4 button so that it stays on column C. Next, I want to do a lookup. So I'm going to look up Angela, and I'm also going to look up January. And in order to do that in sum product, you do you do a dash, and then you do your open parentheses. And so then I'm going to highlight column A for the name. And I want column A to equal, let's see, I want column A, and then I want that to equal Angela. And I'm going to Again, when I drag my formula over this way, I don't want this to leave this column here, column F. So I'm going to hit F4. So I'm going to have the dollar sign just on F. So it's going to hold F constant, but it's going to allow me to drag my formula down to others onto different rows. I'm going to do a closed parenthesis and let you know what that looks like. Basically what it's doing here is, and I forgot I needed 2 dashes instead of just the one. So what it's doing here is it's looking up Angela, but it's not looking up the month yet. So in the pivot table, you can see that the total for Angela is 233, but we don't want that. We want it for only January. So if in your formula up here, you can do another comma, you do the 2 dashes and open parenthesis, and this time you want column B, and I'm going to hold it on column B with F4. You want that to equal January, or this month. Now this time, when I drag my formula over, I want it to stay on row 2. I want it to go to different columns, but I want it to stay at row 2. So I'm going to hit F4 until the dollar sign is just in front of 2. And then I've got to do another end parenthesis and hit enter. So now you can see it's looking up Angela in column A, it's looking up January in column B, and then it's summing or it's adding together anything in column C. So we've got it set there. Now what we can do is we can drag it down and then drag the formula over. And you can see the month of May shows up, but everybody had 0 in the month of May because there were no sales at all that month. And if you want to double check, you can add the sum and add everything together. Make sure that equals the total that the pivot table had. Again, you can do the sum, add everything up for January, and drag it over. Make sure that that's everything, same that the pivot table had. So this is a different way to kind of do something similar to what a pivot table is doing, but using your Sumproduct function, and you're not missing any months at all. There's more complicated ways to do this. Next, I might show you how to do a drop down. So you can choose your drop down and show a chart based on these numbers. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned. If not, if you learned anything, please like and subscribe to the video. Thank you.